losses with 24 knockouts. He is ranked number 2 by the World Boxing Association, the light heavyweight division. He is ranked number 2 by the International Boxing Federation in the super middleweight division, and is ranked number 4 by the World Boxing Council in the light heavyweight division. From Winnipeg, Canada, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome aboard Donnie Golden Boy LaLonde. LaLonde. And his opponent in the red corner, wearing the green trunks with the white trim. He tipped in at an even 170 pounds. This gentleman has 42 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, with 26 knockouts. From Brooklyn, New York, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mustapha Hampsho.
The LaLonde camp concerned about having a strong referee in there. One of the finest young referees in the business, Arthur Mercanti Jr., handles this fight.
This is his biggest assignment, and we're going to find out a lot about Arthur as a referee because he will have to enforce the rules tonight, Sam.
Joining us at ringside, the WBC Continental Americas junior welterweight champion, James Buddy McGirt. Great to see you, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Great
Pleasure
fight
to be
over
here.
Vincent Relaford. And here we go, scheduled for 12. Mustapha Hampsho in the green trunks, Donnie LaLonde in the gold.
Hampsho has to try to get close and drop the shot right down around the belt line, trying to intimidate LaLonde right away.
There's never been a question of LaLonde's power with the right hand. His biggest problem in recent years has been using that left. He's gotten more mobility in it the last couple of years. He's got a big scar in that left shoulder where he had an operation. There's that low left hand that we talked about from Mustapha Hampsho.
I mean, that had to be no secret that Mustapha would go downstairs once. Former middleweight contender Benny Briscoe out of Philadelphia. First minute of every fight would land a left hook right below the belt. Of course, Buddy McGirt, you don't know about any of that.
LaLonde carrying that left hand very low, but dominating with the right hand.
Mustapha got
landing.
The right hand.
Hampsho is shaken up by a right and another right land. There's the power of LaLonde. Again, the straight right hand by LaLonde. Hampsho starting to brawl. Hampsho's eyes wide open after some of those shots by LaLonde.
The only time Mustapha's ever been off his feet was in the rematch against Marvelous Marvin Hagler in this very ring in October 1984.
LaLonde showing the left, firing the right hand.
Buddy, if you were in there or you were LaLonde, what would you be doing? Brawling? Trying to get him out of there right now? Or
No, Mustapha's very tricky. I've boxed with him quite a few times. And you have to keep boxing him. You can't fall into the trap. You think you have him hurt. And if you come inside Mustapha, use every trick in the book. So LaLonde right now is doing the safest thing by boxing.
LaLonde got caught with a left hook to the neck from Hampsho. Hampsho just wades in and caught LaLonde with a left hook. Late in round 1. And both men have showed their stuff. LaLonde, that good right hand. Hampsho, the brawling style.
First round, a lot of leather and some pretty good shots landed by both fighters.
Well, Mustapha's trying to brawl. That's his game, and LaLonde's trying to keep him at distance a little bit with the left hand and hammer him with the right. You have to give the first round to LaLonde. He was a little more effective, landed the cleaner shots. Mustapha is having a little trouble with the reach and the height right now, and it's going to be a question over the long run, I think, if Mustapha can work the body, stop trying to go to the head as much, and maybe lower those hands and fatigue LaLonde. Otherwise, I think LaLonde, with his reach and his height, are going to keep him at bay a little bit.
LaLonde seems to throw a lot of long punches, leaves himself pretty wide open. Do you see that as a weakness of Donnie?
Yeah, well, he's not very defensive. He's offensive-minded, except for when he's on, he's on his bicycle. He's moving a little bit. I've seen him fight a couple of times. Willie Edwards and a couple of other fights that didn't go as long. He tends to tire a little bit from all that running with a real aggressive fighter. So that'll be a good question later on.
Round 2 coming up right now. Hampsho and LaLonde back to Madison Square Gardens.
See the end swell being used to the side of the eyes of Donnie LaLonde. There's been no signs of swelling.
Well, just
early in the fight.
Sam, just in case there is a cut, manager Dave Wolf hired one of the best cut men in the business. He came from Blackwood, New Jersey for this fight. Ralph Close the Cut Citro.
Tommy Gallagher, Donnie LaLonde's trainer, told him between rounds, just stick to the basics. Jab, right hand, and slow down. Pace yourself. Donnie LaLonde was very concerned about looking good in this fight. The lunging Hampsho throws LaLonde to the ropes. That's something that LaLonde will have to deal with, buddy, right?
Yes, definitely, because Mustapha used every trick in the book on the inside. So, yeah, but LaLonde has to use his reach to stay on the outside. If he gets inside, he's going to lose the fight, definitely.
Fighting a guy like Mustapha Hampsho could definitely make you lose your composure.
Oh, definitely. He's very awkward southpaw. He's hard to hit, and he does a lot of tricky moves. The longer the fight goes, the better chance Mustapha has. But the best thing for LaLonde, like you said earlier, is to keep his distance, to stay outside, and use the basics like his corner told him.
There's that left hand. I believe it's straight quite low by Mustapha.
And you see Arthur Mercanti moving in quickly, making sure there's not too much rough stuff going on the inside in those clinches. Most of that left taken on the glove by LaLonde.
The left hand of Don LaLonde is an improving left hand. It's far from being a world-class left hand, but that right hand of his can get anybody out of there with one good, crisp shot.
In looking at the tapes of Mustapha Hampsho in that fight against Bobby Ches 5 years ago, and then that fight against Richard Burton, Hampsho was really solid. Here he looks a little soft in the middle. That extra weight showing. There's never been a question about the heart and determination of Hampsho.
Oh, he has more heart and determination than any fight I've ever seen. I've boxed with him, and I've seen him fight plenty of times. It just shows that he has that courage that you have to kill him in order to win.
35 years old, Mustapha Hampsho. His manager, Al Cerdo, says he doesn't need this. The guy's got all the money in the world, but he just wants to fight. He loves to fight. He loves to challenge. Glancing right hook off the chin of LaLonde.
You know, so much has been made over the years of Mustapha Hampsho being cut and being a bleeder, but you have to go back to that Hagler fight in 1984, and he actually got knocked out in that fight. So you've got to go back quite a number of years before he was cut, and the first Hagler fight was in 1981.
Time winding down in round 2. LaLonde trying to finish strong. Scheduled for 12 for the WBC Continental Americas Light Heavyweight Championship. Donnie LaLonde in the gold. Mustapha Hampsho in the green. Sam Rosen, Randy Gordon, and Buddy McGirt here at ringside. Glad you could join us for fight night at the Felt Forum. The winner of this expecting to get a shot at the Light Heavyweight Championship.
One of the best performances in the career of Mustapha Hampsho came in July of 1983 when he pounded out an easy 12-round decision over Wilfred Benitez. And Benitez then was only 24 years old.
Lunging left hook, and Hampsho follows up and then puts the bear hug on LaLonde.
Sam and Buddy, you might remember that Benitez fight. That was only a few months after the death of the beloved manager of Mustapha Hampsho, Patty Flood. And he said he was actually feeling the presence of Patty in the ring that night.
Oh, I boxed with Mustapha for that fight. I went to camp with him.
I'm sure you didn't want to be there.
And one morning we went running, and he ran 13 miles. I don't know how he did it. The last 6 miles he picked it up. I got in the car and rode without.
I'm sure he didn't even realize he was running. He was fighting with tremendous emotion.
When I came home before the fight, a lot of people told me Benitez was going to beat him, but I said, no way, he's in tremendous shape. And they said, well, you're lighter than Mustapha. That's why he seems so strong. But it showed in the fight how we just manhandled Benitez.
LaLonde not doing much with that jab at all. It's been short. He's pawed with it and has not been effective with it.
He's starting to let Mustapha take control now.
I thought Mustapha had a real fine second round. And he's not doing too bad here in the third.
A lot of feeling around the LaLonde camp was that he would need a knockout to win. Look at Hampsho.
Hampsho chased LaLonde back, who pulled straight back. And then as he was pulling back, got hit with a shot. There you see a shoulder block by the very strong Hampsho.
You saw Arthur Mercanti, the referee, step in right away when Hampsho threw an elbow. And he yelled, "Keep it clean." LaLonde landed a right hand.
I don't see the fight going to 12-round distance.
Time winding down in round 3. Good left hand by Hampsho.
Hampsho, as Randy Gordon pointed out, seemed to be coming on in the third round. Your impression of the fight so far?
Well, he's moving a lot better than he was in the first round. He's applying a little more pressure, and LaLonde, like I said, with a reputation of tiring, has slowed the pace a little bit. I have it 2 rounds to 1 for LaLonde, but Mustapha's making nicer moves coming in. He's looking a little stronger, but we got a long fight ahead of us, 12 rounds. Still any man's fight.
Arthur Mercanti Jr., the referee, how important is a referee in a situation? The way Hampsho fights, it's very kind of a brawling. Sometimes people call it dirty. How important is a referee?
Well, Mustapha does what he has to win, and sometimes those tactics border on filth, never mind dirt. He'll pull all the stops out if he can get away with it, and if you have an official or referee that's going to let him get away with that, it's going to force you to do the same and make it different, and not such a nice fight. So you're going to need a good referee to keep everything clean.
Do what you got to do. Round 4 coming up from the Felt Forum.
Round 4. Scheduled for 12. Donnie LaLonde and Mustapha Hampsho. How have you scored it so far, Randy?
Scoring on the 10-point must system, that's part of the rules of the Continental Americas in their title fight, scoring on a 10-point must system. I've given the first round to Don LaLonde 10-9, the next 2 to Hampsho 10-9.
Now we're in agreement on this one so far.
Give it time. Hampsho's just starting to get very physical now. Near the end of the round, starting to muscle LaLonde around.
The worst thing LaLonde can do is go in a straight line backwards. That gives Mustapha's momentum. So he has to move side to side on Mustapha.
LaLonde got hit with a left hand. It was half a punch and half a push. And he bounced off the ropes. But one thing, Hampsho is definitely establishing superiority in the ring.
But what he's trying to do is intimidate Don LaLonde. I think he's trying to find out exactly what kind of man he is, what kind of heart he has.
Exactly. But if he keeps moving straight, he's going right in Mustafa's range, because Mustapha wins his punches. And he's going straight back, so he's going right into him.
It's early in the fight, and Mustapha feels if he can intimidate Don LaLonde, take his heart away, the fight is his.
Mustapha has a way also of wearing you out. You can box 3 rounds with him in the gym and be dead tired.
Hampsho got in a right hand. When you watch LaLonde, there's very little on that left hand. He must land that right hand to be effective and to have any chance of winning. That left hand doesn't do much.
Trainer Tommy Gallagher will tell you, and Don LaLonde will tell you, so will manager Dave Wolf, that the left hand is getting better, but it still has a long way to go.
This fight kind of reminded me of the Richard Burton fight, where Burton was starting strong, and then all of a sudden he started wearing out because Mustapha was staying inside with him.
Hampsho finished Burton with that straight left hand that put him right down the corner.
Keeping in mind, buddy, that you're a 140-pounder, but considered to be a very strong 140-pounder. You boxed with Hampsho when he was a middleweight. You boxed recently with him. Is he that strong?
Definitely, without a doubt. Him and Matthew Hilton are the 2 strongest men I ever boxed with in my life. I have to say that. Because not because he's a stablemate of mine, but it's that anybody can tell you when you box with Mustapha, you got to be in good shape.
LaLonde throwing punches, but Hampsho showing a lot of movement. For a guy who's 35 years old, he's showing some good moves in there. Hampsho in at 170 pounds. Late in round 4. Good left hand by Hampsho. Round 5. Mustapha Hampsho in the green has fought very well. Donnie LaLonde starts out aggressively here in the 5th round. I've given the last 3 to Hampsho. How about you, Randy?
Same thing. I've got Hampsho up on the 10-point scoring system, 39-37.
A little bit. LaLonde not showing as much movement as I've seen him in the past, Randy. Seems to be fighting more flat-footed, more back on his heels.
Well, I'm sure he's well aware that this fight is scheduled for 12 rounds, and if he goes moving, he's going to burn up a lot of energy against this very strong and sometimes crude street brawler, Mustapha Hampsho.
LaLonde, the former light heavyweight champion of Canada. As you heard earlier, say he wants to become the first Canadian in more than 50 years to become a world champion.
I'm sure at this point, Don LaLonde does not have his mind on Bobby Chez.
Trying to figure out now how he's going to last his 12 rounds with Mustapha.
That's right.
Well, one of the things he's got going in his favor is just tremendous conditioning. That was a slip. He ate a couple of shots when he was down. Typical Mustapha. Now, sorry about that.
Hampsho doesn't know to stop. He just knows to keep punching.
Big George Foreman was the same way. He'd knock you down, and you better lay out on the canvas, because if your head was in punching range, George would knock it off.
When Mustapha says he's a fighter, he means it. Even in the gym, he's the same way in the gym.
He's a tough man to fight, and LaLonde is finding that out. Right hand landed on Mustapha's left elbow. Mustapha Hampsho claims Bobby Chez has been avoiding him. Well, Bobby Chez promoters are here taking a close look. Hampsho beat Bobby Chez 5 years ago. Chez was an undefeated middleweight at the time. It earned Hampsho a second shot at the middleweight championship. Hampsho, hoping a win tonight, will earn him a shot at Chez's IBF light heavyweight title.
Round 5 is history, Bobby, and Hampsho seems to have the fight not totally in hand, but certainly LaLonde, you mentioned when we were watching it, his heart sometimes in question as far as what kind of guts this guy has.
Well, you know, like I said, he's got a little bit of a reputation to tire somewhat, and what I'm looking at here is I see that Mustapha's taking a little more control. As the fight progresses, if this keeps up, he'll either lose a decision or get stopped in late rounds, and you know, you got to have a lot of heart to fight with Mustapha Hampsho. A fighter like that's going to keep coming no matter what.
The art of body punching is a lost art, it appears, in this fight. You mentioned that if LaLonde would look a little more to go to the body, he might have a little more, just a little more success as far as this fight goes.
Well, Mustapha's looking for him to headhunt because he's the taller of the two, and I think that not only the fact that Mustapha's a little bit of an older fighter, but body punches take the starch out of a fighter later in the rounds, no matter how old he is.
All right. Round 6 coming up. Back to the Feld Forum.
Right now, Hampsho piling up some points, though. I've got it 49-46.
Same thing.
If you watch it on the inside, in the clinch, you see Mustapha giving LaLonde the elbows and the shoulders and everything.
What does that do to a fighter?
It wears you out, you know, and Jordan tried to, like you say, see what kind of man LaLonde really is.
Well, he just found out what kind of right hand LaLonde has.
Right.
He ate a tremendous right hand.
That straight right hand was a beauty.
I felt it.
And LaLonde started to open up. Now, Hampsho trying to crowd him a little bit.
Well, Tommy Gallagher certainly came out with his own punches, his verbal punches between rounds. I think it could have woken LaLonde up.
This is our main event on fight night at the Felt Forum. Don LaLonde and Mustapha Hampsho for the WBC Continental Americas lightweight contender James Buddy McGirt. Sitting alongside, he's the WBC Continental Americas junior welterweight champion, having beaten Vincent Rutherford. And the caution to Hampsho.
I think Hampsho, who looked to be the man who was doing the butting there, I thought I might have seen some blood there coming around the scalp area, but it looked to be a hair with the light shining on it. Heads up.
And now Arthur Mercanti is taking charge here. He's telling both fighters, watch the heads, cut out the rough stuff on the inside, and box.
So this is exactly what I wanted to see out of Arthur, because we've been talking about him as being one of the top young refs in the world. And he is taking charge.
Good right hand by LaLonde. LaLonde trying to take charge in this round.
Hampsho still going after the heart of LaLonde. Still certain he can drain him apart by roughing him up, but LaLonde isn't going to take it. When he gets headbutted, he comes right back with his own headbutt.
He shouldn't have fight to Mustapha's fight. That's what Mustapha's trying to get him to do. Draw him into inside warfare, and that's where LaLonde's falling into. He can't do that.
Mustapha got in a looping right hand.
Solid punches by Hampsho. LaLonde took him very well. You know, it was back in November of '82 when Bobby Ches lost a 10-round decision to Mustapha. I was sitting next to that day, Tony Ayala. Outstanding fighter in the ring, had a lot of problems outside the ring. But he was a fighter cut out of the mold of Hampsho. And he said to me, Ches is being intimidated by this guy. If I was in there, I'd butt him right back. Ooh. Sometimes you have to do that with a dirty fighter. You've got to let him see that he cannot get away with those kind of moves.
Final seconds of the 6th round.
What do you do with a guy like that? Do you just fight dirty back? You mentioned a little earlier, but he seems to be intimidating LaLonde, not only with his punching, but his tactics right now, and the young LaLonde seems to be getting frustrated.
Well, he's real strong, Mustapha, physically. He's not a real big puncher, but he's real strong, so he can move you around a little bit on the inside, and he uses his head and his elbows. He'll try and lace you with the inside gloves. That's a Mustapha Hampsho fight. Myself, I wasn't intimidated by Mustapha Hampsho's tactics, and I, at a number of times, did do some things back. It was just a matter of lack of strength due to the weight loss for that fight. But I get a last round to LaLonde, so as a comeback, I got it back to 3-3.
3-3. LaLonde is not finishing as well as you would like to see. He gets 1 or 2 punches, and he doesn't go to the body. He's head hunting.
He's head hunting, and, you know, you get him with 2 good, clean right hands. Mustapha stopped in his tracks, slowed up, looked to hold on. That's when you unload 1 or 2 to the body and see what starch that can take out of the system.
Round 7 underway at the Felt Forum. We'll be back.
Well, I think Mustapha's got a little lead on him still.
27-year-old Donnie LaLonde in the gold, 28-2. His last loss was to Willie Edwards in 1985.
He was knocked down 3 times in that fight. Actually, they called 4 knockdowns. One looked to be a slip. Those are the only times in his career LaLonde has ever been off his feet.
Early in his career, he lost a 6-round decision
to Wilbert the Vampire Johnson. Remember him?
Certainly do. Long right hand scores for LaLonde. The Vampire, one of my favorites. Saw him on New Year's Eve come out of a coffin.
That's right. When Mustapha Hampsho came over to this country in the mid-70s, and he started boxing, Patty Flood was trying to find a name for him. Didn't like Mustapha Hampsho. So he said, let's call you Mike Estafire. And from there it became Rocky Estafire. And from there it became Rocky Hampsho. And finally Patty said, heck with this, I can't find the name. Let's go with Mustapha Hampsho. It sounds like made up anyway.
Good right hand on the top of the head of Hampsho. Shook him a little bit. Again, LaLonde throwing that right.
He's going to break his head if you hit him on the top of the head.
See, now it's LaLonde who's getting physical. I agree with what Tony Ayala told me 5 years ago. When you've got a guy in front of you who's getting so physical, and you never know what he's going to hit you with next, do it right back to him.
Definitely.
Otherwise, he'll take your heart right away from you.
LaLonde has paced himself well, and he seemingly has come on in the 6th and 7th rounds.
Well, to Bobby Chess's credit back then, Bobby broke his, I believe it was his right hand early in the fight.
With Hampsho.
So he did what he could in dropping that decision to Hampsho. But Bobby would love another crack at Hampsho.
And the feeling is mutual.
Oh, yeah. Whenever Bobby fights, Mustafa's sitting ringside. He's right there.
Hampsho got in the left after he took a couple and got in a straight right hand. Late in round 7. There have been no knockdowns.
And thankfully, there have been no cuts.
LaLonde at his best when he can throw that straight right hand. There he got in the right hand. As time winds down in the 7th round.
And indeed, it's not the nicest thing you want to see. You broke 2 bones in your hand?
Well, actually, what it is, I dislodged the first 2 metacarpals, the row of joints here. They came out of the socket and were, you know, they had done some ligament tendon damage, and technically it's worse than a break. You have these 2 here are supposed to be mobile, and they were actually jolted out. And the injury started some years ago, but I had Mustapha dead in the forehead, and they finished. They popped out. And it's quite a deal of pain to have to fight with. And, you know, I had to get surgery, do the whole thing, rebuild the hammer bone from my hip. You know, they didn't know, is the hand going to be good? Can he still fight? But so far, the hammer works.
It's working good. Real quick, LaLonde, age 27, Hampsho, 35. Does age tell any tale here?
Well, it's got to tell a tale. Later in the fight that you're going to see that Hampsho's going to slow a little more, and the body's got to be less, you know, available to him for strength. He's going to be lower and lower in reserve.
Okay. Round 8 coming up from the Feld Forum.
There's round 8, scheduled for 12. Don LaLonde in the gold trunks. Hampsho low with that left hand. Mustapha Hampsho in the green. A very close fight. I've got it 67-66 for Hampsho.
Exactly as I scored it. I've given the last 2 rounds to Don LaLonde, who got a tongue lashing after round number 5 from Tommy Gallagher, and he has fought with some fire the last 2 rounds.
I think he's picking up the pace now, you know, hoping Mustapha tired. But he's starting to find his range with LaLonde. I see that, especially with the right hand.
LaLonde throws very few body punches. The right hand to the head is what he looks for.
He's playing a very good fight now, LaLonde. I got to give him credit. He's really changed his tactics a whole lot better now.
Well, Mustapha wanted to find out what kind of man LaLonde was. I think he found out. And now Mustapha knows he's got to really start getting close and mixing it up.
And LaLonde is giving Hampsho a little movement, little side to side, little circling, just enough to throw Hampsho off a little bit.
He looks in good shape, LaLonde, too. He doesn't seem tired. It's like he's got his second win and everything. To be honest with you, Sam, I expected Mustapha to just manhandle him for like 5 or 6 rounds.
I think he tried to, and Donnie hung in there pretty well. That straight right keeps popping on the head of Mustapha Hampsho.
Well, in our keys to the fight, one key, I think, which will be very, very important is stamina. We gave that to LaLonde. And I think you see right now the fresher of the 2, even if just by a little bit, looks to be LaLonde.
Definitely.
He's throwing his punches in bunches now. He's putting them together more. And I never really seen LaLonde fight that much. So I guess by working with Mustapha and not seeing LaLonde, I just picked him as a big favorite.
Notice how when Mustapha comes in, he's coming in many times elbow first.
Mustapha not throwing the punches the way he was earlier. And even on the inside, LaLonde is hitting him and landing well. That time LaLonde may have been a little low with that right hand.
A taste of Hampsho's own medicine.
And a little headlock. LaLonde has got a few moves in there, too. LaLonde has been trained well. There's no doubt about that.
He's got his thinking cap on now.
Final seconds of the 8th round. This is scheduled for 12. The York Rangers goaltender John Van Beesbrook ringside to watch this battle between Don LaLonde and Mustapha Hampsho for the WBC Continental Americas Light Heavyweight Championship. The winner expecting to get a shot for the world title. And right now I've got it all even, Randy.
So do I. 4 rounds apiece. We're scoring on the 10-point must system. 76-76. This becomes a 4-round fight.
And LaLonde has come on the last 3 rounds, buddy.
Yes, definitely, most definitely. He changed his tactics, and he's fighting a whole lot smarter fight, and he surprised me.
An incredible statistic in the distances fought in rounds between 6 and 10. LaLonde has been that distance 11 times.
Low left hand, and that hurt LaLonde. You can see him walking away, and a warning from referee Arthur Mercati.
Now Mustapha's going to his old dirty book now.
Okay.
Well, when you run out of tricks, I mean, LaLonde
is talking to him. He's talking to Mustapha on the inside.
Better be careful about talking, because while you're talking, Mustapha will punch you right in the mouth. Between 6 and 10 rounds, LaLonde 11 times, 26 times over that distance for Hampsho.
Hampsho is coming in with shoulders first, elbows first, and that low left hand. He's trying everything now.
He's doing everything in the world to win.
That was a nice body shot. Left hand by Mustapha Hampsho.
LaLonde doing some work on the inside, which he wasn't doing earlier. Again, Hampsho low with a left hand. Question is, will referee Arthur Mercati penalize Hampsho?
I'm not sure Arthur saw that one. If he did, I'm pretty sure he would have jumped in with a warning.
Hampsho getting caught on the way in. LaLonde trying to fight him off, and does. Hampsho mugging to LaLonde.
He wants LaLonde to come in and brawl, and then he just landed a hard right hand to the head of LaLonde. I think LaLonde wants to oblige him. Sure, let's brawl.
Oh, the heads banged together hard. Wow.
LaLonde thinks that was an intentional butt. There is a way to do it. George Chuvalo once was trying to show me how to headbutt. George, the old heavyweight contender out of Canada, he said a real smart fighter. There's another headbutt. Hampsho took the worst of that one. He's looking to see if there's blood around his left eye. And
There's blood over LaLonde's right eye.
Well, he's got one of the best cut men in the business in his corner. Ralph closed the cut citro.
And he's getting ready right now. There is blood over the right eye of Donnie LaLonde late in round 9, and that's from a headbutt. As those heads bang together violently at least 3 times in that round.
A tremendous 9th round, and Hampsho stuck his chin out there, Bobby. What do you do in a situation like that?
I try to take it off, you know. It's one of those things, the guy sticks it out there. You know, anything he gives me, I'll take it. If he doesn't, I'll make it. And we can hit a guy with your best stuff. Jim McDonald did the same to me. I hit him, and he went like this and stuck his head out, and I hit him again. You know, it's a whole lot easier to hit a man with his hands down than when they're up.
You see they're working on LaLonde's eye there. What kind of 3 more rounds to go? How much does the cornerman play right now as far as LaLonde's existence in this fight?
Well, I don't think the cut is bad enough that it's going to have any effect in this particular fight. LaLonde should just disregard it, go about his business. He's won like the last 4 rounds or so.
Right.
I got him ahead by a little bit in at this juncture of the fight, and I think that he's coming along. He's the stronger of the 2. But when he gets a man hurt, he's got to work the body a little bit and then take it back up top to the head.
Round 10 coming your way from the Felt Forum.
To the scorecards, and whoever is leading at the time will win the fight. Right now, I've got LaLonde ahead by a single point, Randy.
That means you gave him that last round?
That's right, in the last 4 rounds. We're in round 10, scheduled for 12. The cut is on the eyelid of Donnie LaLonde. There's a lot of Vaseline coming down. Right now, the cut is not bleeding.
If you're scoring at home, we'll try to find out for you, but I saw referee Arthur Mercati talking to the officials. He may have taken a point away, probably from Hampsho.
What a rough fight this is. And just as we expected, Hampsho doing everything. He draws the boos from the crowd. He's not a pleasing fighter to watch. He's a rough, tough fighter, street brawler, who will do anything to win.
And last rounds of Hampsho fights are very interesting. I remember one back in June of 1980 when he threw Wilfred Scipion through the ropes and onto the press table. He bounced onto the floor. He was unable to continue.
Zach, I've seen that fight. That's when I first seen Mustapha Hampsho on television.
LaLonde able to work out of the clinch and throw punches.
That's when they call him the Syrian buzzsaw.
That's right. LaLonde making a mistake by hanging on the inside, but he's getting very frustrated. That frustration is setting in. He should just get back, use the jab, and try to drop the right hand straight down the middle.
He moved well there. I think he's got to do more. There's the heads banging together again. And you can see frustration on the face of Don LaLonde.
LaLonde just a moment ago looked at Hampsho, and he said he kind of muttered to himself, "Damn you." Because he knows whenever he gets close to Hampsho, or whenever Hampsho gets close to him, he eats more than the leather gloves. He eats shoulders, elbows, forearms, and a forehead.
About a minute to go in this 10th round, scheduled for 12. For the WBC Continental Americas Light Heavyweight Championship. And likely for a shot at the World Light Heavyweight title. Big left by Hampsho, caught the side of the face of Don LaLonde.
It was more of a lunging shot by Hampsho. It was a good punch, but it didn't really have that much steam on it. That right hook had a lot more steam.
And LaLonde uses his left elbow. And a low left hand from Hampsho. And here's Arthur Mercanti stopping and stepping in and telling Hampsho, again, another warning. Coming to the end of round 10. It's been a rough fight throughout. That's one of them from Hampsho.
Well, many fighters don't have any sets before a fight for weeks. I think it's going to be a long time for LaLonde after this fight.
Now, the word is that the point was taken away from Hampsho in the 9th round, so if you scored it originally a 10-9 round, take another point away from Hampsho. More rough stuff here.
How many low shots?
LaLonde is down on one knee. I tell you. Arthur Mercanti is now talking with Don LaLonde, trying to give him some time. LaLonde shaking up, has pushed the mouthpiece out, breathing heavily. I think in Arthur Mercanti's mind, he wants to let this go, let him fight, but I think he has to be considering the possibility of disqualifying Hampsho. You have to look at it. So many low blows have been thrown.
The heads have cracked together. I think you're going to see some hard punches thrown by LaLonde now. He is angry, but I don't know what he's got left. Those low shots, Tim, you know, I make a little joke about it, but believe me, they take a lot out of you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's been more than one. There's been several, maybe 3 or 4 real hard low shots.
Body rings, shakes, quivers. Oh, well, we'll let that in. Buddy, tell me, what does a low blow feel like? And what?
It hurts a lot, believe me. It takes a lot out of you. But the way LaLonde is getting hit, I'm surprised he only go 12 rounds.
I've got it scored 96-93 right now for LaLonde. How about you?
96-94 in my car, but then there was that 1 point taken away, so same thing at 96-93 LaLonde.
Then again, it depends really on how you get hit, really. Sometimes you can get hit and don't feel it that much.
Don LaLonde. And David Wolf in the corner, and LaLonde went back at Hampsho with a low blow.
You know, that much happened in the light heavyweight title fight between Eddie Mustapha Muhammad and Victor Galindez in about 1976. Victor kept nailing him low. Finally, Eddie had enough and came right back. He lost the round because of it.
Arthur Mercanti, as the referee, is getting tremendous experience with a right hand, rocked Hampsho, and he's trying to hold on. LaLonde.
The heads came together again, and LaLonde put a right hand below the belt. And one of the guys also working the corner of LaLonde, former light heavyweight contender Bobby Cassidy, knows a little bit about some rough stuff.
Great job by Ralph Citro on the cut over the right eye of LaLonde. LaLonde answering
They better get a tour guide to get Hampsho back to his right corner. LaLonde, the low blows seem to make him pretty upset, it looked like.
Well, you know, I don't believe that he was as hurt as he claimed to be right there. You know, sometimes fighters will fake it a little bit to get the sympathy of the judges or the close fight of the crowd. And also, he could take a little rest, plan what he's going to do, and now he took that and he turned it around, and so far it looks like he's got the fight if he doesn't get stopped. He's
under control. I think they're going to roll a replay into the low blows. Just the seriousness of those. When you've gotten hit like that, obviously it's a nauseous feeling, but what do you do?
Well, there are times that they don't hurt too bad. If they catch you just right so that it didn't hurt you, but if they catch you just right so it did hurt you, it can be extremely painful. And 2 or 3 of them in a row will take some steam out of you. It's worse than a good solid body shot because it's such a tender area.
Here's the low blow, which is coming up right here. Right there again. That's about the 4th one. Go to round 12 right now. Danny LaLonde well ahead on all the cards.
Arthur McCandy, the referee, is trying to keep control of this fight. It hasn't been easy. We've now learned from the judges that 2 points have been taken away from Hampsho in this fight. He's down 2 points because of the warnings for low blows and headbutting. And the right hand of LaLonde coming from all angles. I've given Donnie LaLonde every round since the 5th.
LaLonde is going for the knockout now, looks like, Sam. What do you think, Randy?
I think LaLonde is going to listen to Tommy Gallagher. Tommy told him to just fight, get out there and fight like a man. I don't think Don is going to be happy just dancing around the ring and maybe winning it on points. He wants to stop Hampsho, wants to make him hurt, wants to punish him this round.
What a test for Donnie LaLonde. Mustapha Hampsho in the twilight of a lengthy career.
And what a career it's been.
Straight right hand sent Hampsho back on his heels, and he was hanging on. LaLonde exults in anticipated victory.
LaLonde cocking that right hand, no question what he wants to do. He threw a right hand that looked a little bit low.
We're coming to the midway point of this 12th and final round. There have been no knockdowns. LaLonde sneaks a peek at the clock.
Well, with the amount of body shots and low shots that LaLonde has been hit, he's got to feel as if this is round number 25.
I give LaLonde a lot of credit for this. He fought a very good fight, and even though Mustapha used every trick in the book, he still hung in there.
LaLonde showing tremendous courage on his own. And Don LaLonde said that when Hampsho starts using all the rough tactics, it'll come down to how much he, Donnie LaLonde, wants it. And he's shown that he wants it badly. Again, the right hand rocks Hampsho. And it's Hampsho who goes sliding into the ropes. Wrestled down. That's no knockdown. Winding down in this 12-round brawl. Donnie LaLonde from Canada. Mustapha Hampsho from Syria. They meet up in New York City and bang away for the final second.
Oh, the heads came together one more time.
And this is it. The final bell. It's all over.
That was a very good fight, Sam. I have to give LaLonde and Mustapha both credit.
I thought a tremendous war in there. Dirty, to say the least. A tough fight to officiate, a tough fight to fight in. But this man, Don LaLonde, I gave him every round from the 5th on.
So did I, Sam. And this crowd at the Phil Forum, one of the biggest in years, really enjoyed what they saw tonight.
My final scorecard says 116 to 110 for LaLonde, including the 2 points taken away from Mustapha Hampsho.
Same thing. Without those points taken away, it would have been 116-112 on my card. What a brawl.
Mustapha Hampsho, 35 years old, fighting professionally for 12 years, battling Don LaLonde.
In that 12th round, LaLonde felt he had the fight won, but didn't run, didn't try to score some points, try to knock Hampsho out. And there's a big right hand that snapped the head of Hampsho and almost had him down.
Donnie LaLonde and Mustapha Hampsho await the final decision of the judges in this 12-round battle. We'll be right back with the decision in just a moment.
Back in the Score Studios, it seems to be pretty cut.
12-round fight for the WBC Continental Americas Light Heavyweight Championship, and an unofficial elimination bout for a title shot. The fighters in the ring having congratulated one another and showing no animosity toward each other despite all the rough stuff in the ring. The cards have been collected, and now we await the announcement of the decision. Ed Darien checking it all over. Let's find out.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I read off the scoring, let's hear it one more time for these two young men. And the scoring by points as follows. Judge Victor Suarez observed the fight at 116-110. Judge George DeGabriel, he scored it 118-108. And Judge Al Reed, he watched it at 117-110 for the winner by unanimous decision, and the brand new World Boxing Council Continental Americas Light Heavyweight Champion, Donnie the Golden Boy LaLonde.
Donnie LaLonde in the toughest fight of his
Albert, along with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, and we'll get it going with a 19-year-old, highly regarded middleweight by the name of Bobby Ches, who is not your ordinary